For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble, and thank you for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com. And on SoundCloud and iTunes. How's it going today? I'm just looking. This is show number 169, everybody. 169. Congratulations. Congratulations on finding this podcast. You know, there are so many these days, right? You know, today we're celebrating my 12th anniversary on the radio. And the reason why I say there's so many podcasts nowadays is because that really wasn't a thing when I started on the radio. And now everybody's a broadcaster, right? Thanks to YouTube and well, I guess all these live streaming, like social media, right? You can go live on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So really everybody feels like they're a broadcaster, and I'm one of the people who actually went to school for it and has a professional career in it. I was going to say makes money at it, but obviously, you know, those YouTubers do, and I'm certainly not jealous of them. But I'm old school like that. I'm traditional radio, and I love it. But of course, we've naturally had to branch into podcasting, and that's why you're listening to The Scribble right now, just to get caught up with the times. You know, I did just sign up for Instagram a couple of months ago. I don't like change. I don't like embracing change. I do like embracing our celebrity friends, though, that call us on the radio. Last week on this podcast, you heard surprise calls from Nancy Grace and Rachel Ray. They called in for our 12th anniversary broadcast and wished me a happy 40th birthday. That was a bit of a joke. I don't know how that got started, but what happens is we have this segment called Celebrity Phone on the radio shows, and I'm not told who's calling in. I honestly don't know. I just see celebrity. There's a certain phone line that we have that only certain people have, the phone number people have, and coincidentally, it always seems to ring right as a segment starts, right? So they time this thing perfectly, and I know a lot of things about our show, the ins and outs, but this is one that always catches me off guard. And so we had Rachel Ray and Nancy Grace call in during our 12th anniversary broadcast. Well, then in the second hour, or the next part of the show, we had Mike the Situation and Vinny from Jersey Shore, and then Ashleigh Banfield. She's on HLN, and she's from my hometown of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And so those three called in and surprised me later on, and we didn't have time. You know, this podcast is only 30 minutes, and we didn't have time to include the Jersey Shore and Ashleigh clips on last week's podcast, so we're going to bring that to you this week on the show. And so that's what you're going to hear. 4 segments, 2 from Jersey Shore, 2 from Ashleigh Banfield of HLN. And we're going to get into that right after this break here on The Scribble.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Oh, celebrity phone once again. Blink. I don't even know how we have time for all these calls, but let's do another one. Hello, you're on the air with Jeremy.
Hey, what up? It's Vinny Guadagnino from Jersey Shore and Mike the Situation.
Oh.
And we wanted to say a big happy birthday to Jeremy. 40th birthday. It's a big one. Congrats, buddy.
No,
yeah, baby.
It's not. I don't know how this keeps happening. It's the 12th anniversary of our show, but thanks, guys. I appreciate the sentiment. I really do.
Many, many mazzles.
Oh, well, thanks for calling in, guys. Appreciate it. Let's check in with you guys, though. Jersey Shore, back on MTV. The gang is up to... the gang's up to no good, really, right? Let me start with you, I guess, Vinny. Who has matured and grown up the most?
Probably Mike, because he's just, obviously he was always like such a big villain, controversial person on the show, and now he's like inspirational to us. He's sober for years now, and he's the guy that, you kind of want to be around, and in the past, we used to be like, keep me away from Mike.
I gotta ask, Mike, did you ever think that you would sort of be the inspiration to the group?
I wouldn't rule myself out, but, maybe years ago I couldn't see the transformation, which, I could only hope to be the man I am today years ago.
I think that we all grow up, though, right? I mean, we all have fun in our, in our younger years, and we mature, and we grow, and we learn from our, I guess you could call some of them mistakes, right? But it's awesome that you've seen great strides. So then, Mike, on the flip side,
I was saying that, this is Vinny. I was saying that, that's what I think makes this time around of our show so great, is that, we are more mature, so we are different in some ways, but we all haven't changed that much. I mean, anybody who says that they're that different, some aspects of your life change, but we all still like to have fun. We dropped our egos. We like to party. We're not in a competition. We're all make fun of each other, and we support each other. And we have a balance of life of partying and also real life responsibilities.
We don't keep things too serious on our show, but Mike, obviously you've gone through some really big things. What was the defining moment for you? Like, what happened that made you say, I need to change?
I just realized that my way was not working, and I needed to change. In my 20s, I was wild, I was immature, I was arrogant. I needed a change, and that's when I decided to get sober and work one day at a time to be the best version of myself. And, in life there's going to be some things you cannot change, but there's going to be some things you can, and those are the things I work on a daily basis.
Well, again, it's been great progress. And Vinny, back to you. You guys refer to each other as family, but I have to know, from the cast, who would you absolutely count on to get you out of a jam? Who would be that one person that you would think to call first?
My best friend for, my roommate on the show, Paulie D, has always been, the guy, he responds like lightning, too. It's so funny. Like, as busy as he is, he's always like, he'll literally respond to you in like 2 seconds, no matter what he's doing, whether he's on a plane or whatever. But I would also take the new situation, because this guy's all about, like, doing good deeds for himself lately, so he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll go do this with Vinny, because it's my service for the day."
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back with Mike the Situation and Vinny from Jersey Shore, celebrating 12 years on the radio. Thank you so much, guys, for calling in. Again, despite what you heard, it is not my 40th birthday. All right, let's have some fun here. Mike, finish this sentence. When I hear Snooki's name, it makes me think of...
My sister.
Nice, okay.
Oh, she's like our sister, so yeah, definitely.
Okay, Vinny, finish this one for me. If I could go back in time and relive one scene from the first series, it would be...
Probably when we went to Sicily. I met my family for the first time over there with my boys, and never in a million years did I even think I'd be at my family's house in Sicily, but with these guys, filming this show.
What's it like, though, to really open up your life? Because I imagine, and I could be wrong, but when you signed up for a show like that, it was more about just partying, having a good time, being carefree, but then, you're taking now the cameras into your life and seeing these life changes. Either of you, I guess, could respond to that.
Yeah, we had like a definitely interesting job. You know, it's you don't want to obviously expose everything. You know, some people keep things more private than others, but at the same time, you know, what makes us popular is that everyone relates to us and our problems and our life situations. So, you know, we kind of have to just walk that line between exposing certain things, being vulnerable, but also, obviously, you know, there may be some things that, you know, we don't just put on a show for the world for, you know.
Let's be honest, I think most of you guys exposed quite a bit on the first run, right?
Yeah, we definitely exposed ourselves.
Yeah, like I said, it's the fine line from being authentic and genuine to, like I said, exposing yourself. But we pride ourselves on unapologetically being ourselves, and that's why it's good TV, and we're very proud of the product that you guys are seeing right now.
Well, it's really made a mark in, you know, pop culture. But I have to ask then, is there any embarrassment, Mike, of any of the things that you've watched the show back and seen it played out? Any embarrassment, or do you just say, hey, you know what, I've learned from this?
Yeah, you know, you hit the nail right on the head. It just comes down to just being young, and I wouldn't be the man I am today if I didn't make some of the mistakes when I was younger. And we're just showing a real, true, and authentic journey for a number of years now that the fans have been with us. And I'm very, very proud to show my journey and show my transformation and introduce the new situation, which is the Inspirations.
Well, let's talk about the new series then. Or I guess it's sort of the return of Jersey Shore, but what can we expect then in the next few episodes? What's coming up for you guys?
So basically, it's you know, now that we're living in the house for a couple, you know, the first couple episodes we were just kind of getting there, getting acclimated. Now that we're there, I think shit is going to start to hit the fan. People are going to start to unload on each other. So lots of drama between the roommates. Because, you know, we're cooped up in that house 24 hours a day. We have no phone, no TV. So, you know, we're bound to, like, butt heads. So that's where you get the drama from. But also, you're going to see some real, like, life-changing moments from our life that are going to affect some cast members for the rest of our lives. So I'll tease you with that.
Mike, what's one moment we should be watching for that is your favorite?
I think the whole season for me is a redemption season to show, you know, America and the viewers in the world a new side that maybe they haven't seen before. And I've worked very, very hard for many years to be at the process and person I am today. So the whole season I continue to try to improve and be the best version of myself. So this is a really big season for me.
Well, it sounds really interesting. Can't wait to follow along with you guys. So when can we catch Jersey Shore's back on MTV, right?
Yep, every Thursday at 8 p.m. on MTV. It's also a global airing, so it's airing all over the world. So there are Jersdays all over the world, so check your local listings. But out here, it's 8 p.m. on MTV. It's
a great family reunion. Well, Mike, the Situation, and Vinny from Jersey Shore, thanks for calling on our anniversary, not birthday. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
And I see, the celebrity phone, once again ringing. Do we have time for another call? All right, well, let's do it. Hi, you're on with Jeremy Bradley.
I heard somebody's having a 40th birthday, Jeremy.
Hi, who is this?
Hi, it's your fellow Winnipegger, Ashleigh Banfield.
Ashleigh Banfield, nice. I would expect a little better from a Winnipegger than a 40th. Again, everybody, it's our 12th anniversary broadcast. I don't know what's going on. Was there a memo? What happened?
I'm pretty sure I saw it on Backpage.com that you're turning 40.
Oh, yes, I have that site bookmarked as well. Well, Ashleigh, it's great chatting with you. Thanks so much for making the time. I know you're busy with your HLN show. We got to talk about Winnipeg then. We went there, right?
How about the Winnipeg Jets?
Rocking it in the playoffs. You're watching, I imagine?
So I haven't been watching so much as I've been getting regular updates from my brother who goes to all the games. And who's literally typing in all caps in the middle of the night at all times, giving me just updates. But we're down to the wire. Could be a big Friday night.
It's one big happy family in the city, I can tell you that. It's, that's the thing, when you see the parties and everybody, flooding into the streets wearing their white shirts, like, that's always been the Winnipeg thing, right? Like, it's just that sense of community.
Yeah, so the minute that the temperature, basically goes above minus 20, it's T-shirt weather, white T-shirt weather. Everybody's out in the street.
And Slurpees. You can't forget Slurpees, though, in minus 30, right?
Well, it's true. I remember one of the NHL players, when we were kids, before he was an NHL player, threw a Slurpee on me at the local 7-Eleven, and so it was sort of my claim to fame to the NHL, and I was a hockey fan ever since.
Oh, they hooked you. They hooked you right there. But no, I mean, we're joking, but it's serious. Manitoba, I think, is the Slurpee capital of the world. I've heard that title before. It's crazy.
You're not crazy. I have heard that before. I have not done my own empirical research
right.
on it, but I have heard that we're the Slurpee queens.
Well, and there's lots of, like, Winnipeg-isms. I don't know if that's what you call it. Like, you got to know about a Manitoba Social and Cub Rye bread, right? I mean, people just don't get it if they're not from Manitoba.
I know, very unusual. I think when you live in such cold temperatures, you have to come up with sort of your own unique celebratory, iconic moments. And for us, the social, which for anybody else is just a party, the social was sort of a key, moment in your months, in the winter months. If you were planning a social, if you were going to a social, it was the talk of the town.
And then sometimes you even just go to the store and get a kubasa and cheese platter on a Tuesday afternoon just because. I mean, you gotta.
Well, I don't know where you're
No.
from.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember having a lot of kubasa.
So then I also have to ask, when's the last time you had a genie's cake?
I couldn't possibly tell you, honestly. No, I think I was just sticking with the Slurpees.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about the show in just a second. One more thing. Somebody's visiting Winnipeg for the first time. They only get one day in the city. What should they do?
Oh, absolutely go to the Human Rights Museum. It's so unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot of wonderful stuff in Winnipeg. The Royal Winnipeg Ballet is one of the most incredible world-class ballet troupes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you only have one thing to do, I would say the Human Rights Museum. Just an amazing site.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back celebrating 12 years on the radio. Not, again, I repeat, not my 40th birthday. I'm not sure why all of our celebrity friends, they're conspiring is what's happening. I'm joined again by Ashleigh Banfield, fellow Winnipegger. We talked all about our favorite things in the city in the last segment. You've got Crime and Justice with Ashleigh Banfield on HLN. There's some tough talk on there, and I want to know, when did you get this interest for talking? You were on Court TV back in the day, but you've covered war, you've done, other news reporting. Why did you make the transition?
Court TV was such a fascinating place. It was like going to law school because, the attention to every aspect of litigation was a proud focus of that network. And I had a partner named Jack Ford who was an amazing tutor. He's literally a law professor at Yale. And so to sit beside him for 2 hours every day and learn the ins and outs of everything about American jurisprudence, it was like a gift, And so coming back from doing a lot of the war correspondence, I found myself having 2 little babies and unable to jump on planes the way I used to. And this was a great way to stay at a desk and yet really be challenged with something new, a whole new horizon. And so it sort of blossomed from there. That was the genesis of it. But then once the babies were, on their way off to school, I found that I really liked the beat.
Has there been a story or a case that you've followed that you're just like, yeah, I love this. I love this?
Yeah, I think all of them. I'm always amazed by the member of our human flock that strays so far from us. I'm always fascinated by what takes them away from us, what makes them move so far away from our norms and our accepted behavior. What allows them to do this, with no compunction? And I know that sounds kind of lofty, but basically, how the hell does a murderer get through these thoughts and still, be okay with it? And I know that kind of sounds like Pollyanna, but there's a lot to that. And I'm no idiot. I know that crimes of passion happen, and that's not so much the fascination. It's the ones that are just inexplicable. And so I think once I've arrived at these, and it's so hard to get an answer, I continue to claw at it. Does that make sense?
It does. So why do you think, though, that we're seeing so many more, gruesome cases and more just lack of humanity, right? People aren't just not treating, we can always say that it's social media, it's politics, it's gun laws. Like, why do you think that we're seeing the kinds of weird cases that we're seeing nowadays?
Yeah, I think there's, I think that a lot of people think, gosh, it's so much more dangerous now than when I was a kid. I actually don't know that that's entirely true. I think there's a big combination of, exploding population, so more people, more crime. But I think we are still the same in our nature. And some of us are just, I believe, born bad. I also think there's a lot more avenues for broadcast, right? I mean, when I was a kid, there was no cable news, and there was no, there were no cable programs dedicated just to crime or just to sports or just to music, although there was MTV. But now there is. Now there's narrowcasting. You don't have to watch broadcasting and wait for something that you like. You can go to the narrowcast and immediately find what you like. And so, the industry of communication has tailored to those interests. And so it seems as though, oh my gosh, we have crime channels now. There was always the crime to fill them. There just wasn't the bandwidth before.
What we need more is friendly Manitoba people. That's what we need, I think.
Bringing that sensibility from the north. I like to tell Americans, being from, Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is due north of Fargo, if you're in a map, it brings the sensibility of the Midwesterner that's had to fight cold a long time, so real scrappy. Yeah. And then they just kind of shudder and think, wow, it gets even colder?
Yeah, it's like, how can you do it? It doesn't, no, you can't. All right, well, thank you.
It's hard.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for calling in on not my 40th birthday. It's our 12th anniversary broadcast, and we're going to be watching Crime and Justice with Ashleigh Banfield. It's on HLN Monday to Thursday, right?
Monday to Thursday from 6 till 8 Eastern Time.
All right, check your local listings. Ashleigh Banfield, fellow Winnipegger, thanks for calling in today.
Hey, and happy anniversary.
Thanks so much.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. At the top of the show, I was talking about the differences between radio and podcasting, and there really is a big difference, and because I'm always tempted to reiterate things on the podcast, right? I'm tempted to sort of recap things that I've said as though you're just tuning in. But I guess that's a possibility, right? You could download a podcast and then just jump in, 17 minutes into the show. So, okay. I was going to say, because this is not like you missed the first 10 minutes and now you're just catching it like you would a radio broadcast or a TV show, right? So generally, for the most part, you listen to a podcast from beginning to end. So, okay, never mind. I thought that I was onto something here. But, again, I thank everybody who's always tuned in and sharing your feedback and your thoughts. And again, you can email me live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. I had to laugh when we were doing... I've done this charity thing where I go to a local school and I read books. And the reason why I'm remembering this now is because I kind of just heard not a lisp, but sort of a whistle kind of a sound on my lips when I was speaking. I got braces in, when was it, March? February or March. And it took me a little while to adapt to, the feel of it, also how I was going to be speaking. And so I know that there are some times when I say words that have an F, A, B, C, D, E, F in them, that to me it kind of catches the bottom of my lip, and so I don't actually have an F sound. If I move my lips and my and tongue a little bit, I can say the sound or the letter. But if I'm just speaking quickly, and so I was at the school, I do it every other Tuesday, and I have the same two kids that I read to, week after week, but one of the little girls in the group who reads with somebody else had come by and sort of interrupted when we were sitting there reading a book. And I don't remember exactly what she said to me. And then she's like, "What is that on your teeth?" And I said, "Well, they're braces." And I'm not kidding you. She's like, "Oh, and that's why you talk very funny." Very funny is what she said. I was so tempted to say, "Listen, bitch, you think I talk funny? You just said very. Very. It's very, very." All right? Even the first time that I just said the word very, there was a bit of a whistle. I'm not sure if it came through on the microphone, but yeah. It's one of my fears. I mentioned it when we did this podcast, I guess that was the week after I had done it, where I said, we had pre-taped a bunch of radio shows. I was just in a panic that I'm not going to be able to speak properly. It was the same thing when I had my wisdom teeth taken out. I don't think that we were doing this podcast at the time. I was definitely on the radio. And I remember just thinking, I'm not going to be able to open my mouth. I won't be able to do this. I won't be able to do that. And I'd have to look and see how far in advance we pre-taped. But certainly it was at least 1 week of shows, because I didn't know. I didn't know if I would survive. I didn't know how we would make it through. How can the host of the show not be able to open his mouth? How do you host a 2-hour radio broadcast without being able to speak? I don't know. Although they are music shows, so we could have just sort of played music the entire time, and maybe people wouldn't have noticed that I wasn't on the air. I don't know. Anyway, so again, my thanks to... or we're not even done the show. All right. God, you think 12 years on the radio, and I don't know, when we're taking a break and when we're done the show. We've got a message here about Twitter, and then I'll be right back.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
That's right, Larson, at The Scribble Show. And, of course, my Twitter is at Jeremy D. Bradley, Jeremy, the letter D, and then Bradley, Bradley. And ditto on Instagram, by the way. I mentioned that I was a late bloomer when it came to Instagram. And I'm getting a little bit more personal on Instagram. We talked about how I would use Facebook, and then Twitter would kind of be our promotional tool. And then I thought, well, on Instagram, maybe I'll open up a little bit to my personal life. So you can see a lot of pictures of the dogs and my home life on Instagram. So that's at Jeremy D. Bradley. So show 169 is coming to an end. Again, I always love hearing from you. You can send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. In case you didn't hear the podcast last week, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we had Rachel Ray and Nancy Grace calling in to celebrate my 12th anniversary on the radio. So you can, again, go to our website or on SoundCloud and iTunes, and episode 168, I believe that would be. I'm not a math person, but if we're on 169 and that one was last week, it would be 168. And all of the celebrity guests that we've had on the radio and on the podcast are at speakfreecelebwatch.com. Speakfreecelebwatch.com, in case you've missed anybody and you want to check those out. Speakfreecelebwatch.com. All right. Well, I thank you always for tuning in and giving me your feedback. If there's any celebrity guests that you would actually like us to have on the show, I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to get the Brad Pitts, we're not going to get the Rihannas, we just wouldn't. We wouldn't. I'm not even going to try to pretend like we'll try. We could try, but I know it's not going to happen. Though I do often think positively I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet we wouldn't get that one, but we can always place the call if you'd like us to. But again, the email address, live@jbonair.com. I know some of you who do listen to the radio shows did send me your congratulations last week, and so I just wanted to thank you for that as well. Again, you know, when you think about how many years people spend at one particular job, very rarely with a newer generation, or at least people my age, right? Because I would have started the radio shows when I was 24, and often you stay maybe in the same industry, but not at the exact same role, right? You might do radio at this station, then this station, then this station. I've been hosting the exact same show for 12 years, so it's been a great ride, and again, thank you so much for your congratulations. I'll talk to you next week here on The Scribble. Bye-bye.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,